Okay, so for the first equation, remember what we were talking about. The bully on the playground is the one that always wins, so the smaller one has to move. So when we look at our 10x and our 4x, our smaller one is the 4x. So that's who's going to have to move. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my line. And my 4x, since I have to move it, I have to zero it out. So the opposite inverse operation to plus 4x is minus 4x. Now, if I do it to one side of my line, I have to do it to the other. But I need to put it under my like term, so I'm going to put it under the 10x. 10x minus 4x is 6x minus 8. My 4x's here cancel out, so the whole thing equals 10. From here, you should be able to take it pretty easy. The opposite, we're solving for our 6x, so we need to get rid of our negative 8. The opposite inverse of minus 8 is plus 8. We're going to do plus 8 on both sides. So that leaves us with 6x equals 18. Now when it's beside, we're going to divide. So we're going to divide both sides by the coefficient of 6, and x equals 3. Now let's go back in and check it, make sure it works. So I'm going to plug in 3 back to my original equation. This original equation up here, I'm going to plug in 3 instead of my x. So I've got 10 times, instead of x, I'm going to put in 3, minus 8 equals 4 times, instead of x, still going to put 3, plus 10. Okay, 10 times 3 is 30, minus 8 equals 4 times 3 is 12, plus 10. 30 minus 8 is 22, 12 plus 10 is 22, so we know that we have it correct. Okay, on number 2, same exact process. I'm going to go ahead and just give you a few hints, and then I want you to do it on your own. When we're looking at the playground bully, we're looking for the smallest. And our choice is a negative 3 and a positive 6. The negative 3 is the smallest, so that's the one that's going to need to move. So go ahead and pause your video, do this work on your own, turn the video back on, and make sure you got it correctly. Okay, on this one I worked my way down, and I got to x equals negative 6/9. Then I went ahead and reduced my fraction. So the answer is x equals negative 2/3. Okay, number 3 is exactly like number 2, so go ahead, pause the video and get number 3 done, and then start it up and check your answer. Okay, so we come up with x equals negative 5. So let's go ahead and check this one. So we're going to take our original equation, which is negative 4, and instead of x, we're going to plug in negative 5, and plus 5 equals negative 9, and again, instead of x, we're going to plug in negative 5 minus 20. Okay, so negative 4 times negative 5 is positive 20, plus 5 equals negative 9 times negative 5 is positive 45 minus 20. So 20 plus 5 is 25. 45 minus 20 is 25. So we know that we've got the correct answer. Okay, on number 4, you're going to have to remember about distribution. We're going to have to distribute the 5 times the r and the 5 times the negative 4. And the 3 times the 2r and the 3 times the negative 6. And remember, when you've done the double rainbows, it's just talking about multiplication. So go ahead and pause the video, finish up number 4, then turn it on to check your answer. Okay, so on this we came up with r equals negative 2. let's go plug it back in and make sure we have the right answer. I'll draw me a nice green line down here. So we have 5 times, instead of r, we're going to plug in -2 minus 4 equals 3 times 2, and instead of r, we're going to plug in -2 minus 6. Okay, so -2 minus 4 is -6. So we have 5 times -6 equals. Then we got 2 times -2 is -4 minus 6. So we've got 3 times -10. 5 times -6 is -30. 3 times -10 is -30. So again, you can check and see we've got the correct answer. Okay, so number 5 is going to actually require us first to simplify by combining our like terms. And then once all of our terms are combined, then we'll have to get all the variables onto one side. So I'm going to get you just started a little bit by showing you our like terms. We have 0.05x, we have positive 0.6x, and we have positive x. Now remember, we only combine on one side or the other. We never cross the equals line when we're combining. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my line. Okay, so go ahead and combine your like terms, and then you'll move your smallest one and go ahead and solve this one. Okay, so when I got them all combined, you'll notice that my 2.1x is smaller than my 3x. So I'm going to be moving my 2.1x. So when I do that, don't forget about basic math. If I do it to one side, I'm doing it to the other side. But remember, what is 2.1 minus 2.1? It's still a number. Just happens to be a 0. So we got 0.9x plus 18 equals 0. No big deal. We're going to turn it around, and we're going to say 0.9x plus 18 equals 0. Okay, now I'm still solving for this 0.9x. So I'm going to have to do the opposite of plus 18 on both sides. Okay, so bringing it on over, I got 0.9x equals 0 minus 18 is -18. Draw my line back here, up here. When it's beside, we're going to divide. So go ahead and divide both sides by 0.9. And our answer is x equals -20. Okay, so on number 6, one of our applications. So go ahead and look at this. It's given us the equation. See if you can plug in the numbers. Pause the video. Once you get an answer, turn it back on and make sure you've got it correct. Okay, check and make sure that you got the time equals 2.5. Okay, on number 7, biggest trick on number 7 is to remember, what do you do when you see the word less than? So go ahead and put this into an equation. Make sure you've taken care of that less than, and then solve to find the number. Check back and make sure you've done it correctly. Now I know what you're thinking when you get this answer. N equals 13 over 3. That can't be right, but it is. I just went ahead and put it in the calculator to verify that it was correct. And what it came out to be was 10.333 equals 10.333. So even though it looks like there's no way this can be right, if you just put it back into the calculator or put it in on paper and test it, it is correct. Okay, so go ahead and look at number 8. This is a very straightforward one. You should be able to do it, and then turn your video back on to make sure you got it correct. Okay, so it'll take Hank 14 weeks in order to save up for his guitar. Okay, so the first thing to notice when you read number 9 is at the end, we're talking about jeans at the beginning and we're talking about shoes here. So that should say jeans. So don't let that confuse you. Now this is another one of those questions they love to ask on checkpoints, major exams, and the STAR test when they're talking about a percentage. The sale is 35% of the original price X. So how do we write 35%? If you can't remember, you can put it in your calculator and do 35 divided by 100. Or you can just remember that it's 0.35. So 35% of the original price. Of means multiply, so 35% times X. And we're going to use that to be able to find out the sales price of our jeans. So 35% times the original price of our jeans, X, will give us Y, which is our sales price. So that's the answer to number 9. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video because 10 and 11 are both review questions. I want you to answer those completely on your own. Turn the video back on and make sure you got it correct. But at this point, you should be able to do number 10 and number 11 with no assistance at all. The biggest thing to remember on 10 and 11, on 10, just remembering which way a negative correlation goes. And then on 11, being able to take the pattern, the figures, and putting them into a table, working backwards to our starting point, and forward to find out our rate of change. Of course, if I'd had a calculator, I could have put the data from my table into the calculator, and using my stat edit key, could have gotten the same information. So either way is easier for you. Okay, I will see you tomorrow at class.